Evening, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday evening call on the 1st of October. Can't believe that it's October already. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Merle Westcott and I'm in Durban, based in Durban, South Africa, and I'm a Senior Presidential Director in LifeWave. And tonight I'm going to be presenting with Val, who is the newest Senior Director in the UK, which is very exciting because the UK is only just getting going. They're where we were probably a year and a half ago in South Africa. I think that's kind of where we were then, and the it's open. Val says she's going to be the first SPD, so
Absolutely.
we're challenging her to be there. So I'm going to hand you over to Val so she can introduce herself, and then Val will do the product part of the presentation. So over to you, Val.
Oh, bless you, Mel. That's absolutely fantastic. Yes, thank you. It is so nice to be in such a fantastic position. And I am constantly beyond excited because to have a company like this and fresh, green, lush pasture in front of us that is as at the moment ungrazed, shall we say. The cattle have not been turned out to feed. We have really untouched pasture. This is such a new thing in this country, despite the fact that LifeWave has been in the UK for several years. My team are already in several other countries as well, and yet there are so many people within the UK have not heard of this amazing product and this amazing company. I'm constantly amazed because it's such a fantastic opportunity and such a wonderful product that does so much for so many people. Just very, very quickly, a little bit about me. I've been in the company now for 16 months. I came in last day of May last year, and I'm a dog walker and home boarder that couldn't walk. I've been in that state for a couple of years, nearly 3 years. My hip had done something crunchy, as I say, when I was walking, and I nearly hit the deck, and I was in a huge amount of pain. Turned out I'd torn my greater trochanter tendon over my right hip, and I also had bursitis in both hips. And I was living on painkillers every 4 hours, often waking up in the night to take more painkillers, which wasn't very good for me, as I'm sure you can understand. And I was also having the really fun, um, big needle steroid injections into the hip every 6 months to try and allay the pain a little bit. And it was giving me 2 or 3 weeks respite at best. And my surgeon consultant very merrily telling me that it's degenerative, sweetie. Get used to it. Well, I hadn't even hit 60 at that point, and I didn't really think I was ready for the scrap heap. So I was looking for another option and happened to see my friend posting about these little patches. She lives in Spain, and she was posting about these little patches on Facebook, and she was using them on herself and her husband, and they're rescue dogs. Now, that's what got my attention because if you're using something on a dog, on an animal, there can't be a placebo because the animal doesn't know what you're putting on them. So I pestered her and said, Inez, give me some information on these patches because I need a different solution to what's going on in my life. She sent me, bless her heart, she sent me a load of testimonials and I poured for everything. And everything I looked at, I got more and more excited. So I sent off for these patches knowing that it was a 30-day money back guarantee. So if it was complete bunkum, I was going to send them straight back and tell Inez exactly what I thought. The patches arrived and I'd been looking at loads and loads of information. So I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. I put my first patch on and absolutely nothing happened. I was a little bit gutted, but I knew this could be the case. Not everyone is a one patch wonder, and certainly that was the case for me. So I'd stopped taking my painkillers immediately, so my pain levels should have gone up, but they didn't. And as the next 2 weeks went on, my pain, which was normally a 7 or 8 out of 10 with the occasional nine, came down to a 6 or 7. The next 2 weeks, it came down to a 5 or 6, and it went down every 2 weeks. In fact, by the time I got to 2 months, there was no pain. So there was no painkillers, there was no pain, and even better, there was no nasty steroid injections. I was due one in June of last year, still not had it. So it'll be 2 years in December coming since I've had a steroid injection. And thankfully, I'm now able to walk all day long, which is fantastic. I can do full squats and frequently do just to, people think I'm a bit odd. I've got loads of energy. I'm happier. My menopause, I was not expecting anything to happen with my menopause symptoms. And yet, The menopausal combustibility disappeared. My moods leveled out. The depression, my loss of mojo. My mojo came back. I didn't know. I didn't know that was a possible thing. I didn't even expect it to happen. My skin has improved. My hair has gone berserk. It's fuller and thicker than it has been in 20 years. I absolutely love these patches to bits. And then people all around me started using them as well. And I get the most amazing messages daily. Every morning, I'm waking up to people feeling so much better, healthier, younger, happier. Life is absolutely amazing. Something so small has made such a big difference. And right now, I'm going to take you through the product portion so you can find out a little bit about these patches. And then we're going to have some testimonials in the middle. And Merle is very kindly going to take us through the info on the company at the end as well. So I hope you haven't got your socks on, because if you have, they're about to be blown off. This is an amazing product. So the first question we're going to ask is, have you been patched yet, to elevate, activate, and regenerate your body? Some people on the call have been patched already. And if you're watching a recording, you might not know what this is all about yet. But trust me, you are going to spend half an hour finding out about something that could just change your life right here and now. We can't talk about these patches without talking about David Schmidt. He is the CEO of LifeWave and the inventor of the X39 patch and many other things besides. He is an absolute legend. Over 200 patents to his name already. He's a scientist and inventor, and he's actually one of the world's leading specialists in age reversing. Now, if you'd asked me 18 months ago, is that a serious area of study and people are actually working in that field? I would have said, no, that's space age, but it's true. And David is at the forefront. Back in 2008, he focused his attention on stem cell research, and his most recent patent for the product we're talking about tonight took some 10 years and $4.5 million to bring it to the market. So this is not a flash in the pan. It's taken a long time to get this to us. So as you can see, this is the patent. There's actually just some excerpts from this patent, but you can see the patent was taken out in 2020. Patents run for 20 years. So we've got just under 15 years left to run on this. Now that means no one else can reproduce this product genuinely for all that time. Now, I have to tell you right here and now, people are trying to put out fakes already and they don't work. They're no good. So steer well clear. The only place to get the genuine patches are from LifeWave, and this is the product that is patented. And to get the patent, you have to prove it does something unique. And in the case of this, you can see embodiments as a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, and elevation of antioxidants. That's just a tiny snippet of some of the things that this patch can do. So why the X39 stem cell activation patch? Well, the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. Hundreds of millions of people are experiencing symptoms of aging on a daily basis, and by the time you get to age 30, only half of your stem cells are active. So when you're a baby, you're absolutely full of billions of little stem cells, and they're going to help you to become a fully sized adult human being. They can become any part of your body, your skin, your organs, your veins, your arteries, your muscles, you name it. Your stem cells are the builders. And then when you've reached maturity, they start to switch off. And hence, by 30, only half of your stem cells are still awake and active. And by the time you get to 60, which was me last year, almost all of your stem cell, they've gone to sleep. Okay, like 90% of them. So you've only got about 10% still doing the job that is needed by the full amount. So how the X39 patch works, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. That just means light therapy. It's patented nanocrystal technology. We've got some big words going on here, but basically nanocrystals are the smallest size of crystals, the ones that you can only see under a microscope. And they act like little tiny mirrors, and they actually reflect your body's own infrared light back into your body to activate a healing process. Now, they're non-transdermal. A transdermal patch is something like a nicotine patch or a hormone patch, and it puts a product into your body. Non-transdermal, like these patches, means nothing goes into your body except your body's own light that has literally just come out. There's no drugs, there's no chemicals, there's no stimulants, no needles. It's absolutely non-invasive and totally safe. the benefits of X39. Now, here's just a very, very small snippet of them, okay? Some of the early things we can expect are better mental clarity. My mother says the brain fog clears, okay? So it's like someone switches a light on. You can suddenly think clearly, go into rooms and remember why you actually went in there and not have to come out and go back in another 2 times before you remember the glasses or, whatever it is you went in there for. Increased strength. A lot of people notice that fairly quickly. Reduced inflammation. Now, this is a big one because many diseases are inflammation based. It's not just about your joints. Restored muscle or skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep. Now, for many people, that's absolutely huge. As we start to age, women of a certain age, especially, have sleep issues, very, very common. But these days, with a lot of stress, many people struggle with their sleep, and the X39 patch can really help on that front. Increased stamina, really good. So when you're actually going out and doing your exercise, you'll be doing more of it for longer and easier. Better energy and vitality, and improved skin appearance. So that's just a small excerpt of what can actually happen when you put these patches on and your body starts to work in a much better way. So if you like things presented to you in colour, we've got a fantastic little topography map here. Now, this is from a study with a 77-year-old woman, and she actually had the X39 patch placed on the back of her neck. Now, back here in session 1 on the left-hand side, you'll see there's some hot colours there, some reds and oranges as well as the yellows. And this is because she had quite a lot of inflammation in her brain, and she was demonstrating a lack of brain coherence. And then the X39 patch was put on. By session 2, in the middle there, you can see that we've got much cooler colours. Those hot colours have gone, the brain inflammation has calmed right down, and she's got much improved coherence in her brain. And by session 3, that has continued. She's showing after 6 weeks on the X39 patch a complete turnaround. So it can be noted that when she came in, her brain was hyperactive and her brain calmed down dramatically at the second visit in session 2 after wearing the X39 patch for 3 weeks, and remained calm after wearing the patch for some 6 weeks in session 3. That is a very, very big turnaround. Now, the X39 long-term results, what happens when you put these patches on long-term? And this is as per case studies on thisisit.info.com. Now, I will mention that website again, and you will see it later on in the presentation. So don't worry if you don't get a chance to write that one down. But the first few days of putting your patches on, over 4,000 genes begin to reset. Now, that is a huge number that can be reset to a younger age. And then we get to 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. As you saw on that last slide, the topography map, the inflammation will start to go. Your thinking processes will be much clearer. You'll be more alert. You can concentrate better. And then at 3 months, the good stuff, the big stuff really starts to happen. By the time you get to 3 months, your collagen in your body starts to turn on and increase. Now, many people these days take collagen supplements, but trust me, your body is so full of collagen. It's the most prevalent protein in your body. And if you can turn on your body's own collagen production, it's much, much more potent than taking a collagen supplement. Collagen is in your muscles, it's in your tissue, it's in your organs. It's in the one in the middle that pumps the red stuff around, okay? Quite an important one. And by the time you get to 6 months, you can actually show that your heart has been able to reverse in age by up to 8 years in the studies. Now, that's just in the studies. I have heard people reporting that their doctors are saying their hearts have actually reversed in age more than that. But we have to go on just what the studies have shown. And in the words of David Schmidt, it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. And that is a much better thing. If you could just imagine an extra 8 years out of your heart. Incredible. So how do we wear this X39 patch? Well, you'll see there in the diagram, there's 2 preferred places, 2 fingers below the navel or belly button or on the nape of the neck. But these were just the 2 spots that were used in the testing because they had to have some sort of consistency for the clinical trials. However, these patches are systemic and you can put them pretty much anywhere on your body. Now, we wear them for 12 hours on and 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate, preferably in the day because it's important to drink water. So 12 hours during the day, take them off at night. Then you can either throw the patch away, or many of us actually save them to use the following day on our pets. So there's a little tiny bit of use left in them, not enough for us to wear the next day, but certainly enough for a small furry person. So the next day you're going to put on a new patch and repeat the process. You can wear more than one patch at a time. We have other ancillary patches that they do slightly different jobs. And they can be worn alongside the X39, but you wouldn't really wear more than one X39 patch on per day because you're only going to get about an extra 20% benefit. So really it's not worth it, but we have other complementary patches that you can wear as well. And you just speak to the person that brought you on this call and they'll tell you all about those too. Now, as I said, drink plenty of water. That's really important because it's going to help your cells to communicate, keep your body hydrated, and everything will work much better and you'll be able to flush those toxins out much, much quicker. So the X39 patch, it's so sophisticated, yet so simple to explain. And the testimonies of X39 are absolutely life-changing and emotional. And I said earlier, I often get messages first thing in the morning from people who are patching and getting the most amazing results. Now, I've told you a little bit about me, but I'm really looking forward to hearing from a few other people tonight as to what's happened with their patches. Is there anyone who would like to just volunteer a testimonial? Please raise your hand or unmute.
Oh, I can pick on them.
Or Merle can throw them under the bus.
Definitely can throw them under the bus. So then we'll start with Caroline, given that she's also in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, some of you will have heard my testimonial, but I started, I think, just before you, Val, or a little bit earlier than you, and was hoping to get result with my knee, which has been playing up for a while. I think a bit like you, Val, I just over time realized my body wasn't as kind of strong as it had been, and on top of not bending a knee, I was slowly getting pains that was waking me up at night. I was getting sore hands and fingers, and just I had a specific problem with my neck that when I fell asleep and it was lying in one position, I would sometimes have to move it with my hands in the middle of the night because it was so stiff. So I knew things weren't great, but you kind of get used to things. And but anyway, I thought I'm going to give this patch a go, especially when I heard it was non-transdermal. I think that was my really biggest thing about it all. I really like the idea of light energy and non-transdermal. Those were very two big ones for me. So I started, and like you, didn't feel anything at all. I think I patched for a good 3 weeks before I had my first kind of result. And that was when I woke up one morning and thought, I feel so rested and so refreshed. And that was exactly what started happening to me. I was then able to go to sleep and not wake up with pain, which had been, really where I was heading. And I just felt really, really ready to get going in the morning. So that was kind of the first thing that happened. And I thought, right, well, if it's all I get, I'm really happy because I felt so much better. I had so much more energy. And but then slowly I realized running up the stairs, I wasn't experiencing the twinge in my knee that I was expecting to feel. I was just kind of running up and thinking that was easy. And in within the quite close to the 3 month mark, I was squatting like you, and it's also now my party trick. And everyone's like, "What is she doing?" But actually, I was so excited that I could squat because I didn't think it was going to ever happen again. And I'm 67, so that was one of my goals was to be able to sit on the floor and get up without using my hands. And apart from falling over once, I've managed to do
Wow.
it. I can now do it. I've got my little knack on how to get up. So yeah, then I, like you, started using it on friends and family. And I mean, I'm a homeopath, as I think I mentioned, and quite a few of my friends and people that came to my clinic were then exposed to the patches and were quite happy to try it. Actually, some of them. I had some really wonderful results with. I always go through the list, but a lot of pain, a lot of ease of pain, eczema going away, and an elderly lady feeling completely different on X39 from her Alzheimer's. She was very just aggressive and unhappy. But as soon as she started patching, I mean, 3 weeks into patching, at the age of 94, she was starting to calm down. She was having conversations. She was watching the iPad. It was just, the carer said it was a complete different scenario. And she said, please, please don't ever stop patching her. So, and we've got Julie here, who's also one of my friends who started patching, and she's actually got a great testimonial with her daughter. So maybe I should just pass over to you,
That would
Julie,
be
if you don't mind.
wonderful. Thanks, Caroline. Julie, that would be great.
Yeah, so I watched Caroline actually getting better and better and really noticed it. And I kept putting off using it for myself. And then I was talking to her one day about my daughter and how she had these really awful spots that had gone on for about a year. Nothing worked with them, and it was really affecting her self-esteem. So she said, "Oh, why don't you try the patches with her?" So of course I was much more I managed to use the patches with her rather than myself. But yeah, so it was just amazing, really. So it started to go down over the first month, and then by the end of the second month, it had cleared up so much. Her self-esteem went up, and she also was suffering with really bad anxiety, and at the same time her anxiety's gone down. She's in her third, she's doing another month now, and she's just a really sort of calm, confident. Her skin's really glowing. She's noticed her eyes are brighter, her hair's thicker, and she just feels really good about herself. And so me and my husband have now started, so we're in about week 2. And I'm going to get my mum on it, but I already feel a bit, I do feel a bit clearer and more energized already. So watch this space, really.
That's absolutely fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful.
Thanks,
Can I,
Julie.
can I sneak in a little testimonial about my mother, if I may?
Of course.
Uh, my my mother, I love her. She's 84. She patched the same day. She started the same day I did, because she wasn't going to be left behind. If I was aging backwards and getting anything good, she wanted to be in on it. She's fairly active, and she was still working 1 day a week, doing a little bit of housework or a little bit of gardening, for a family she's worked for many years. But she was getting to the stage where she was very depressed and not wanting to do it. She said, I haven't got the energy anymore, which is 84. So we got patching, and her step count doubled, and she said nothing was happening for about the first 3 months, but I said, look, your step count's doubled. You seem to be, doing a bit more. Do you want to give up working for Richard and Jane? Oh, no, she said. No, she said, I do feel much better. I said, so, it's a very gradual thing, isn't it, Mum? Yes, she said. And then unfortunately, she was going out a lot more, getting a much more social life. I'm not going to tell you all that part, but she fell off her mobility scooter. It was before breakfast. She was trying to pick up something off the floor and forgot to let go of the accelerator. It spun round. Well, she was due a shoulder operation, and of course, luck would have it, she fell onto the dodgy shoulder, and then she couldn't even lift her arm up, and she was in a huge amount of pain, not sleeping. So I said, look, we're going to patch your shoulder, treat it like a knee, as if we were trying to rebuild the cartilage. We're going to try this protocol, and I hesitate to use the word protocol because we're not medical people. I said, but we're going to try this thing I've seen for rebuilding cartilage on your shoulder and see how it goes. She wasn't due to have the consult with the surgeon until last week, so we had a 4-month window. So we started patching her shoulder using X39, Aeon, carnosine, and glutathione all around her shoulder. And after 2 months, she got it back to where it was before she fell off her scooter. So she was like, this is better. She said, it's still painful, but it's better. I said, well, do you want to carry on until you have the consult with your surgeon to see what's going to happen about the shoulder replacement? She's already had 2 hip replacements and the other shoulder done. So it was a matter of time. But it's a big operation when you're in your 80s. So she had the consult last week, in Thursday of last week, and she phoned me up afterwards and she said, guess what? I said, what? He said, there is no arthritis in your shoulder. There's just some soft tissue damage. There is no point in me doing a shoulder replacement whatsoever. So she's cock a hoop. So yeah. So for the moment, she's stopped using the extra 3 patches and she's just continuing with the X39. And I said, look, if it starts hurting again, we'll just go back to patching. But not having to have a major operation at 84 when she's already had 2 hips and 1 shoulder done. We were fully expecting her to have that other one done. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed.
That's amazing, Val. Thank you for that. I think just one more person, David Gray. Can you turn your camera on and give us, are you around to give us your testimony? There we go. David knew I was going to pick on him, especially because we're going into the business park next.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I can give you a quick testimonial. I started patching about 2.5 years ago, and I didn't really think there was anything wrong with me. So I said to my wife, Cindy, to take a picture of the back of my head because I was having a bald patch being created on the back there, and lo and behold, 7 weeks later, the bald patch was grown closed. So I've got some physical evidence to show people that hair can grow back. But my biggest win from using the patches was I suffered terribly from anxiety, and 48 hours after I put the patch on, my anxiety disappeared. And I used to walk around with a pill called Ativan in my laptop bag, and I'd have to take it if I felt a panic attack coming along. And I haven't had to do that it's over 2 years now. And I'm so forever grateful for that. Another quick one is my sister's son. He's one of a twin. They were born prem, and he's 13 years old now. They've just moved to Somerset West, and he's got a squint in the one eye. So he's being teased tremendously at school with a squint. And I remember seeing a testimonial of a granny patching her grandson where the X39 helped for that. And I said to her, well, why doesn't she try it? And that was 2 months ago. On the first consultation, the squint angle was measured at 26%. And it's 6 weeks later now, and I spoke to her on Saturday, and it's down to 5%. So the doctor is completely amazed and asks her what is she doing, because they've never seen anything like this. And she obviously told her about the X39, and now the doctors ordered it to see if it will help for herniated disc. So we're hoping to see if something happens on that side.
Wow.
Thanks, David.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about what's changed in your life since you and Cindy started patching.
I can do that quickly. So I got into LifeWave by default. I was away on business, and Merle approached my wife, Cindy. She's a nurse at a local pharmacy. And Cindy understood it, and she signed up immediately. I was away on business, and I said to her, well, get everything together. We can have a look at it when I get back. But I was too late. When I got back, I was already in LifeWave. So I dived in and I started researching it, and I was really blown away. Not being a medical person, I was really amazed. But I saw the business part of it, and I really liked it. And I just started playing golf at that stage, and I said to Cindy, well, if it can bring in enough money to pay for the golf, then I'll be chuffed. And we've been very blessed. As I said, we started 2.5 years ago, and the business grew in such a way that one of us had to make a choice and say we have to look after it now because it's getting really, really substantial. And we set 3 criteria down before one of us would look after the business permanently. One was that we'd pay off all our debt first. And the second one was that the LifeWave income had to, take over the income from the one we're walking away with or match it. And the third thing was that we'd put away at least 6 months worth of costs, just in case we hit a speed bump along the way. And I'm really happy to say LifeWave ticked all 3 of those boxes for us. and I walked away from my job in the end of July, and it's really given me an opportunity to look at LifeWave in a much better way, and also explore other things. So I'm really grateful. I've got so much more time on my hands, and very, very thankful that Merle went to go and see Cindy.
Thanks, David.
Fantastic.
So I didn't say when we started, I mean, some people might have heard me talking before, but I've been in complementary therapy and health and healing the last 30 years. So I'm a life alignment therapist and teacher, and I'm also a nutritionist, which is how I knew Cindy, because I used to send all my nutrition clients to Cindy for their blood tests so that I would know exactly what was going on when I started coaching people. And I worked with a lot of doctors. I also co-authored a book called The Low Carb Creed with Sally Ann Creed, who was one of the authors of the Real Meal Revolution, which was a revolution around the world. So that was my background. And when I was introduced to LifeWave, we didn't have presentations like this. We didn't have Val telling everybody exactly how it all works or testimonies. It was so new in South Africa, end of 2022. All I saw was David Schmidt talking to healthcare professionals. So on the site that Val spoke about, and she'll speak about it again in a minute, there's a very short clip with David Schmidt talking. I watched a much longer one. It was about half an hour, and I signed up on that. And I said to Candace, who introduced me, this sounds amazing. I'm going to patch, but I'm never telling anybody. And here you all are. So back to Val to and the presentation. You need
Sorry,
to.
I muted myself there. So I'll just quickly go over this little slide. I did mention this slide before, this website. This is thisisit.info.com. Take a screenshot or good old fashioned write it down. This is a fantastic information resource, as you might imagine from the name. You will find on here all the patents, all the science stuff, all the studies. You will find interviews with David Schmidt. You will find testimonials from people. You imagine some information you want and you will find it on this website. You can lose yourself in there for a week. So please do go and have a little look through. It's absolutely brilliant. You want to know about LifeWave? It's on that site.
Thanks,
Okay.
Val.
I think Merle is now going to take us through the rest of the business stuff, the good stuff. Many of you have been waiting for this, so thank you so much, Merle.
Thanks so much, Val. And of course, this is at info is also something we didn't have when I started. So we have so many more resources. So you would have thought it sounds like I started in the dark ages. I didn't. I started in December 2022. And although at that stage, the company had been around for quite some time, it was really not doing anywhere near what it's doing now. So when I decided that I had seen a result in myself in a week, and then a result with a friend who I wasn't going to tell, but she phoned me complaining about her shoulder. So how could I not tell her I'd had a result with mine, and stuck a patch on her, and she was a one patch wonder. And then in January, a client saw me, said, you're looking good, signed up, and introduced her friend and her spinal cord. And she'd been my client for years. But by January 2023, she could no longer drive a car. She's pretty much bedridden. She hadn't driven a car in 12 years, in fact, but she couldn't come to me for therapy anymore. And when her spinal cord started regenerating and she drove a car to me in 5 weeks after she started patching, I realized I had to spread the word. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to tell people about the company now. Best I find out something about it, because what if this product's made in somebody's garage? I mean, we know it's not, but what if, because many multi-level marketing companies don't make it to the first 3 years, never mind the first 5. But amazingly enough, when I started looking at the company in 2023, we've been around for quite some time. So at this point, if we're talking about now, this year, we're a 20-year-old company, but in November we turned 21. We're now open in actually over 84 countries, not 75. And the very exciting thing, because of the patent that Val told you about, is that we're not a Me Too product. So nobody can copy what we have. So if I came to you and said, I've got a skincare or a supplement or a weight loss product, you could say, well, I've got one too. And then when people are short of money, they're going to go to their local pharmacy or supermarket that might have a similar product. It may not be nearly as good, and buy that then. So in 2021, LifeWave had been doing a $20 million turnover for several years. And what happened in 2022 to make it very different? Well, in 2020, X39 was patented. It had come to market a couple of years before, but was only patented in 2020. It was mainly healthcare professionals that were working LifeWave. So it was nutritionists and it was homeopaths and chiropractors, and there were doctors and nursing sisters. There were a lot of healthcare people using it. But in 2022, Steve and Gina Merritt, who head the This Is a Team, joined LifeWave, and they started putting a system together that's easily duplicatable. And so with their system in place, the company jumped to 320 million turnover in 2022. In 2023, we did 430 million. In 2024, which is last year, we did over 600 million, and we are on track to do over 1 billion last year. So for those of you who are on the call from South Africa, when I joined LifeWave in 2022, South Africa was nowhere. We're part of Europe, so we're part of Europe, Middle East, Africa, and now Australia and New Zealand have just been added to our collection of countries. We were the worst performing country. We were on a call with Alex from corporate this evening. Before I got onto this call, the SPDs were on a call with him, and we are the number 3 performing country in Europe, and we've been there for months. So we've gone from the worst performing country to always being in the top 3. It's quite unbelievable. We've been higher than 3, but at the moment we're 3, which is amazing. The other thing with LifeWave is that we're ranked as the number 1 momentum company in the industry. So not only are we a company that's turning 21, and this year for the first time we actually moved into the top 25 companies in the industry, but we're number 1 momentum. So that's quite important, because to be the number 1 momentum means we're still full of innovation and things are on the move. So you're not joining a company that's declining. So we won the Global Bravo Award for the number 1 growth company in the industry in 2024, and we won it again in 2025. So at this point in the presentation, we always ask you, what is the most important thing in your life? So why are you on this call today? Is it your family? I know many of us are worried about our family. I mean, Julie said that she patched her daughter before she patched herself and her husband. I mean, that's really common for parents. We always worry about our children and our third children before we worry about ourselves. Are you looking for more time? I know that as a therapist running my life alignment practice and my nutrition practice, I never had time. I was posting stuff all the time. I was so burnt out on social media, and I had so many people I was managing. Yes, I have more people in my LifeWave team, but because it's an easily duplicatable system, there are lots of other people who are helping support them. So I'm not doing it by myself. It feels very, very different. What about security? Many of us don't have security. We don't know what we're going to do for our pensions, where we were going to go, especially after COVID, because COVID meant that lots of people took a huge knock. I know I was speaking to people in the UK, and I know it was a knock for them there. It was definitely a knock for those of us in South Africa. What about travel? LifeWave has the most amazing travel incentives, but it also has opportunities to travel. I've just come back from meeting my team in the UK, and that was something that obviously I funded myself, but I am able to go and see people in different countries and to work with my teams wherever they are. So travel is something that we have done lots of in the last 2 years. Better health was the only reason I signed up. All I wanted was better health. I saw what the patches could do, and I was blown away. It made perfect sense to me. That was why we were going to patch. And my long-suffering husband, who's a civil engineer and very skeptical, many of you have met him or heard his story, he started patching, kept patching because I said he had to, didn't think anything was happening. And 2 years in, his dentist told him that his hereditary gum disease, pyorrhea, was gone. And he'd never seen that in anybody before. So it's something like Val's mom and not having to have surgery for her shoulder. Des is never going to have surgery on his gums. His late mom had that because it's gone. And his dentist can't understand why. Well, we know why. It comes from patching. And you never know how long your story is going to take. So if he got his money back guarantee a month in, he wouldn't have had his results. So he just kept patching because I said he had to. So less debt. Lots of people are looking for less debt, and LifeWave can definitely give you that. I mean, David has just told you what has happened to them. They've cleared all their debt, and we've managed to do exactly the same thing. So how do we get compensated in LifeWave? So at the moment, there are 4 ways that we get compensated. Our compensation plan is going to be enhanced, which is very exciting, and there are going to be an additional five ways that we get compensated. But let's focus on how we get compensated now. So in LifeWave, we love to build teams. So if you join LifeWave, all you have to do is invite friends onto a call like this, or we do a call like this specifically for you to launch your business, or a call in person in your home. And you bring in 4 friends, and that will make you go manager. We'll help you structure the team and put the people exactly where they need to go, but we build a binary. And we always say that you're in LifeWave or you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, because the team will support you to get you to wherever you can go. And it was so exciting to be with Val in the UK when she hit that rank. We were on the phone and on messages, even when we weren't in the conference, saying, have you done it? Has it happened yet? Because we knew exactly what needed to happen for that last link to get her where she needed to go. And she did it. I mean, it was just the best thing to be able to do it when everybody was together. But we all support each other. Now, when you go manager, so you've got your 2 people on each leg, you open up the whole team commission structure. And that team commission structure is capped for SPDs at 25,000 US dollars a week just from the binary. So it's just one way that we can earn. And that's capped at 25,000. We're not going to go into all the details. And what we do need to say here is that there is no promise or guarantee as to income. It's all about how hard you work. So everybody runs a business. We also have something called matching bonuses, and matching bonuses have unlimited potential because they're not capped, but you only qualify for matching bonuses once you're a manager. So if you're a manager and somebody is in your first line, so if I had signed up Val and she was in my first line, every time she got a bonus from the binary, I would get 25% of that. Anybody that Val signed up would be my second line. I would get 20% of what they got. Anyone they sign up as my third line, I would get 20% of what they got. The important thing, though, is it's not from their money. They still get their full bonus. The 25% and the 20% is given to the sponsors, the uplines, by the company for helping support the team. At the moment, that only goes 3 levels deep, but on the new comp plan, it's going to go much deeper. So we also get compensated if we bring in customers. Those of you who were on the call earlier would have heard Val talking about supporting customers. So we have something called preferred customers or preferred customers plus. That means that they are getting wholesale price. People can buy at retail if they choose to, but who would want to pay $150 for a sleeve of X39, a sleeve being your 30-day supply, when you can get it for $100? But if you're a preferred customer or preferred customer plus, you're going to get wholesale price. But because you have a monthly recurring order and the person who introduces you is going to get money every month. So you don't even have to be part of the binary. If you go, well, multi-level marketing is not for me, but I really want to try the product, you can become a customer. But if you choose not to, then we have brand partners. And if you introduce a brand partner, you are going to get rewarded by the company for doing so. But those people are going to become part of your team and they're going to become your responsibility, and it's up to you to help them to succeed. So when I joined, I said, we're just patching. I'm not telling anybody. So we came in on call because I said, that's fine, $295. Now we talk in dollars. It doesn't matter what country you're in, it's in dollars. Each country, their own tax and delivery is added. And if you're in the UK, there's a Brexit fee added as well. So the person who invited you, if they're in the same country as you, can help you with the exact amount. And then, of course, each country has a different conversion. So the pound is stronger than the dollar, whereas the rand is weaker than the dollar. So we work it out on, there's a site called Xe where you can see exactly how much it is, and it varies pretty much every day. So I said, we're going to come in on call. We're going to get 3 sleeves of X39. That's 1 sleeve for me, 1 sleeve for Des for the first month. And then the next month we would patch for 2 weeks and then we would upgrade to advanced. And the company allows you to upgrade, which means when you need to purchase again, you just pay the difference and you get the difference in product. So if you upgrade to advanced, which if you're buying it to start with is going to cost you $535. Now that's a really nice discount because you're getting 6 sleeves of X39, or you can customize your pack. But again, the person who invited you will explain that all to you. But if you upgrade, you'll get another 3 sleeves for $235. So it's a great discount. If I knew what I knew now, I would have come in on advanced and I would have started telling people straight away. I would have gone manager in a day because obviously that can be done. We know. And when I hear people saying, I'm going to wait for my own story, don't wait. Go on other people's stories, because if you wait, you might be like my husband. He didn't have a story for 2 years, so he could have patched for 2 years before he told a single person. And in between, we've changed so many people's lives. So If you're a serious entrepreneur, you would come in on premium. Premium is $1,750. It gives you 20 sleeves of X39. It drops the price of the X39 to $87.50 a sleeve, and you don't have to purchase any product for 3 months. Now, David was talking about his wife, Cindy, being the nursing sister at the local pharmacy. The pharmacy, she eventually got the pharmacist to come on board because she wanted to patch the patients, and they've had amazing, amazing results. The pharmacist was so skeptical, they came in on Core using Icewave and Eon, which are two of our supplementary patches. In the first week, the results she saw were so amazing, she upgraded to premium in the first week, saying, we need lots of these patches in our pharmacy because it's changing people's lives. In fact, she phoned me every day to say, not quite sure what's happening, but we're seeing amazing, amazing things happening with our patients. So as Val said in the beginning, if it didn't work for her, she would have got her money back. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee for brand partners, and the company will guarantee you with no questions asked if you say, well, this is not working for me, I want my money back. So that's not a problem. You do have that security. And then if you're wanting to build a business, you want to stay active. So until you're a manager, you need 1 sleeve of patches a month to stay active. And once you're a manager, you only need 2 sleeves of patches a month to stay active. So nobody is asking you to buy a ridiculous amount of product. So you could buy, once you're a manager, you could buy 1 X39 and, a supplementary sleeve of patches, and you would actually have enough volume to go forward. Now, Belle told you about thisisatinfo.com. We also have a site called thisisateam.com, and that is like the business builder site. Everything you need to know to build a business is there. So if you've listened to me tonight and you think, I can't join a business till I understand the whole compensation plan, then you go to thisisateam.com and you can choose one of the compensation plan webinars or watch them all and have a look at how it's explained on a whiteboard in great detail. In fact, Danny McDaniel does it in an hour, spends an hour just explaining the comp plan as it is at the moment, and you will understand everything. So everything you need to know to build a business is there. So the time is now to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? There is hope for your future, whether it's your health or your wealth that you're looking at, and it's all about getting started with X39. So thank you so much, Val, for presenting the product side of the presentation this evening. And thank you everybody for being on the call. I'm going to stop this recording now.